Okay, this is a video that I've wanted to make for a really long time. I feel there's probably a lot of drummers out there that feel discouraged in their double bass playing because, you know, the standards for double bass playing today is just ridiculous. You know, people playing 200 BPM like it's nothing, you know, perfect albums, you know, sometimes you hear albums and there wasn't even a drummer playing on it, you know. And it's just like, you can't really compare yourself to that, you know what I mean? And another thing to think is, you know, do I even want to play like that, you know? Is that why I like the double bass? Just to go blazing fast? And for most people it's not even it. So, you know, I've been playing drums for about 4 years and one of the main things I've worked on is double bass. And you know, I am in no means the fast guy at double bass. You know, I max out about 160, 165 on a good day, you know. But I still think, you know, I can play double bass and it hasn't really affected me. I've recorded double bass for a full, like pretty much a full album's worth of double bass tracks and another EP which I think has good parts in it, you know. And it's not because about the speed, it's just about the patterns and how it fits with the music. So that's something you gotta look at, you know. If we were playing a snare drum, you know, we don't just think, okay, I'm gonna play a snare drum and just play, you know, blazing 16ths all day, because it would be really boring. So it's like, if you're listening to an album, you know what I mean, sure, when the super fast double kicks comes in, you're like, that's awesome. But when the groovier stuff comes in, I find I'm more excited, you know what I mean? You know, simple patterns like that and they sound really good. It's, you know, look at double bass like you look at anything, you know. I basically want to show you another way you can approach double bass, as in, you know, playing patterns. So take floor time for example. We're not going to play, you know, as I've said, blazing 16ths. We're going to, you know, play interesting rhythms. So, double bass. And it just shows, like, my favourite guys on double bass aren't, you know, blazing the whole time. They're playing like cool rhythms. So, you know, if you take like Lay to Rest, Lamb of God. I've got China set up, but you see what I mean? Like, that is a groove. Or like Dance for All Architects, the end of Numbers Count for Nothing. It's a bit sloppy, but you get the idea. Sweet rhythm. Even like another one of my top guys would be Rob Roth from Ender Shikari. So, you know, he'd play awesome stuff like, say, Mothership. So now I'm going to show you some exercises you can use to, you know, think about pattern, think like more like you would on, you know, your toms. Think about patterns on the kicks. So I'm going to show you a method I use sometimes that helps me to think of interesting rhythms. One method you can use is basically removing your foot off the pedals as you play consistent 16th notes. So I'll give you an example of what that would be like.
So basically what you can do then is, you know, solidify a pattern and play groove over it. So that's one example. Another thing you can do is, you know, try and learn short bursts. Quick forward, quick trees, things like that. Another thing you can do is, for the quick trees, I like to, if it's really quick, I like to do a double on my right. Straight up. See, I find that really difficult. But yeah, whichever suits. But basically, once you got them rhythms, you can throw them in to your double kick band. You can even do a kind of Chris Adler, which is doing things like hurt as, or like, you know, basically switching subdivisions over. That takes a lot of time. Well, it took a lot of time for me, but it's really rewarding when you get it. Basically what I'm doing is I'm doing 4/16 and then the rest 8s, which however I please. You know, it's basically 4 quick 16s followed by 8s, or 30 seconds followed by 16s, whichever, you know, depend on the tempo. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is if you're working on basically to build endurance and speed. So a good exercise I found is to switch from right to left lead. So just start off slow. And what you want to do then is swap from right to left foot and then 16ths, and you know, loop that. And the last thing I tell you to do, well, obviously practice that with a click. But another thing you can do is basically set a tempo you feel comfortable with. You know, doesn't have to be fast, and just play 16ths for as long as you can. And, you know, to make it interesting and to get more practice in, when I do that exercise, I like to, you know, try and play any rhythm that comes to my head with my hands over the top. So, if it's bell patterns or tom sections, basically, I'll show you what I mean. Thanks very much, guys. I hope you took something out of this video, and remember, practice hard, and double bass is not all about speed.